The Strive research part of our business looks at the importance of challenge and evolution and how it affects our fulfillment and our well-being. And within this research, we've just recently observed a big mistake we tend to make when it comes to burnout. Now, where this came from is we were working with some groups in Lismore, which, those people were not only battling COVID, but also have had devastating floods over and over again. And we were working with this group to look at their well-being and mental health and to support them. And what was fascinating is we were talking to so many of them and they said, look, we really appreciate people's intent, but we wish people would stop asking us if we're okay, or we wish people would stop talking to us about how hard things must be for us. And what so many people were saying is, we want to move on and we want to get back to our jobs and making an impact. Like 𝗟𝗜𝗡𝗞𝗦 said, we want to get back to helping kids evolutionize their learning and to engage those children. Health workers talked about, we want to help people in need. Businesses said, we want to get back to supporting our clients. And these people who had been through so much talked about the desire to get back and do something that mattered. And what it reminded me of is what we forget about burnout is there's actually 3 dimensions to it. So the first dimension is around like physical and emotional exhaustion. So this is what we tend to think of when we think of burnout, like that tiredness, that exhaustion. But the other dimensions are a lack of achievement. And this is where we feel like what we do doesn't matter and we're not progressing and evolving. And the third one is around cynicism and like dehumanization of others, where we feel disconnected from people and cynical about them and their intent. And with burnout, we focus on the first one, but we tend to forget about these two. But goal achievement, having goals and progressing is very important and helps prevent burnout. Feeling supported and connected with other people is also really important. And one thing we also observed in our research is, and this was across multiple groups over the last 2 years, is that confidence has actually gone up. And people are feeling more confident just because they've been through so much and they've handled it. So they believe that they are capable of coping with things. Also, in that sort of resilience also has gone up. But what has decreased over the last couple of years is the level of hope and the level of optimism that we have. So these two were going down. And with all this information, we decided to do a project where we looked at, could Strive goals, meaningful goals, help people who are struggling to move forward and to reduce burnout? And that's what we did. So we worked with various groups and we got each manager with their team member to sit down, and together they came up with a Strive goal for that team member. So it was something that challenged them, but they found tremendous meaning and purpose in it. And then what we got the manager to do was check in with them on a regular basis to have conversations about the progress they were making with that goal. And it wasn't just about KPIs, it was also deep conversations about, how do you think you've evolved? How do you think what you're doing is making an impact? How do you think you've grown and improved? These were deep conversations. And what we showed is that when people started this type of work, not only did burnout drop, but hope and optimism dramatically increased. And when we get people to focus on something that challenges them but is meaningful to them, and when we spend time reflecting on that evolution, it has a huge benefit to people's well-being and how engaged they are. And what it reminded me of in burnout is we often think that to prevent burnout or manage it, we've got to do less. And yes, self-care is part of burnout. But it's also about inserting the right things. It's not just taking away things. And what we want to insert are those striving goals that engage us, but also where we spend time reflecting on that progress. So I really encourage you to do this with your teams, because what we've found is it makes a huge impact.